Yes! 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 It is over. It is finally over. And don't tell me that you sat there and watched that entire game, because that is what they call someone who should be in a straight jacket. That's psychotic. That game tonight was brutal. What is going on, everyone? The Eagles lose 6-0, and guess what? Who the hell cares? That game tonight was so useless. Don't tell me, well, those guys are working hard for their NFL dream. That's all great, but guess what? I don't care. I'm a fan. I want real football, and I can't wait for real football. Tonight was the type of night where you don't pay attention to that crap. You don't. You have college football on. Trevor Lawrence for Clemson's out there on the field. Now, granted, those are blowouts, but meaningful football. Texas A&M, like there's meaningful football where the snaps actually matter to these teams and to the league, while that preseason game 4 was on. It was so tough to watch. I'll keep it nice and simple. You got TJ Edwards, Singleton, and Deshaun Hall out there. Deshaun Hall was making some noise once again. Those were your 3 key players of the game. Boom. There you have it. By the way, now that the preseason is over and football season, the real season, is upon us, you might as well get some tickets to a game. You get free $20 right here using the promo code BROADS at SeatGeek at checkout. Use it. Get your tickets early. Hallelujah. The next time we see the Eagles play, it's going to matter. I knew going into it, it would be bad, but sitting through it was way worse than I expected. And I expected it to be the worst thing in the world. Seriously, if you watched it fully, let me know down below. I wouldn't believe you, because if you're a sports fan, you know that's not even watchable. You know that's not worthy of your time. A 6-0 ball game. By the way, Clayton Thorson, what the hell were the Eagles thinking with that draft pick? I'm sorry, I just don't see it. That's something the Eagles normally don't do. You're better than that. Granted, a 5th-round pick, you're not going to have the highest percentage when it comes to picking a good, useful player. But give me something better than Clayton Thorson. All I know is I didn't get too much time to talk about Deshaun Jackson and some little things that have been going on with the Eagles. Deshaun Jackson broke his finger. I never really touched on it. But here's reality. It's not going to affect anything. He's going to be playing week 1. Okay. It's weird. With this Eagles team, why is there a lack of buzz? Is it because the preseason is that ugly to watch and it's that useless? Or are we too confident as a fan base thinking we're just going to be this dominating team? To me, I think it's a little bit of both. We know there's no value in this garbage that's on our televisions weekly through August. We know that. But at the same time, we expect this team to be dogs and go out there and win because we see the roster talent. The talent on the roster, we see that with our eyeballs. So because of those two things, it's a mixture. That kind of scares me a little bit, though, how confident we are. We should be confident. Are we too confident going into the season? We have guys like Fletcher Cox, Nigel Bradham. We have players who really haven't done much throughout training camp and through the preseason. And even the healthy guys. Some healthy guys didn't really get much out of preseason. One thing I did love, though, was Corey Clement out of the pads today. It was a reach to say that Corey Clement was questionable to make the team, but we saw him in week 3 be effective, and it was all they needed to see. And I like what he can bring to the table in that rotation of running backs. It was nice to see him comfortable on the sidelines today, not having to worry about playing at all. But one person who did was Mack Hollins, and after the game, Doug Pederson hit us with tough decisions ahead when asked about Mack Hollins. Now, he's great when it comes to special teams. You can't deny that. But what is his what is his performance as a wide receiver? It hasn't been strong whatsoever. You can clearly make the argument that Ward had a better camp and a better preseason at the wide receiver position. You have to factor in special teams without a doubt. But as a wide receiver, Ward might have beat Matt Collins out. And I wonder what Doug Pederson is going to do here. It's very interesting to see how this 53-man roster is going to play out. And I believe you have until Saturday at 4 o'clock to make the cuts. It's going to come down to the wire for some players. I mentioned Singleton, and he made so many tackles today. He's the kid who came from the CFL. He's a great player. He's a great special teams guy as well. But what we've seen out of TJ Edwards, it's almost like these two were battling for that one spot. And TJ Edwards, who was undrafted from Wisconsin, might battle him out for that last spot, really. But both of them have been playing really well. No one should hold their head down, really. Everyone's got to hold their head high up when it comes to those two, because they both put it out there on the line and treated this game as if, I saw a tweet out there, as if it was the Super Bowl. But that's how it is for some of these players. You know, I respect it, but from an entertainment standpoint, it's trash. It's trash. The biggest thing that makes me happy is knowing there's no more of that. It's crazy how much we anticipate football being back. Oh, it's training camp. I know it's just training camp, but we need something. Then you finally get through training camp. Oh, give me at least a preseason game. I want to see a game. Then the preseason goes along. Oh, God, no. I can't do this. I wonder what Howie Roseman is going to do with this Jadeveon Clowney situation. Because if it's me, I'm heavily on the phone. I'm active every single day. Checking in 3 times a day, 4 times a day. He wants to be here. Clowney holds all the cards. I had this discussion today on 97.3 ESPN with Jeff Mosher and Josh Hennick. They think because his name is so big and because he was the number 1 overall pick that we are overreacting as a fan base. See, I know that his name and his draft selection where he was picked makes it seem like he's better than what he is. I don't expect him to have 10, 11, 12 sacks. No, I don't. But he can add to this line, and he can add to this rotation. And sure, maybe someone like Derek Barnett loses some reps. But that's the beauty of how this line was so successful when we won the Super Bowl. Don't think of it as someone else losing reps. Think of it as a group being fresher all the time. When you plug in someone else and take someone out, where now he's fresh, and that player who you took out is getting rest, so when he comes back into the game, he's fresh, and you're constantly plugging in these players who are really talented and at the top of their position, and you're throwing them in this cycle where they come in waves and waves and waves, and they're so rested. I'm all in. If it takes someone like Nelson Aguilar, who's your 3rd, 4th option because you have Zach Ertz, because you have Alshon Jeffrey, you have Deshaun Jackson, you have Dallas Goedert, even though I would put Nelson Aguilar ahead of Dallas Goedert when it comes to where he is on the depth chart, and I know 2 different positions, but when it comes to getting looks, I would do it. Because he can come in and be your best or your second best, depending how Brandon Graham is, when it comes to the defensive end position. Howie isn't afraid to make a splash. Howie's not afraid to make a move. And you know he's aggressive. And you know he's a wizard. So how is this going to play out? It's something unique. And you can never, ever, ever question Howie Roseman when it comes to making noise, when it comes to making a splash, because he's not afraid. He's not afraid to pull the trigger. He's not afraid to do something explosive. I mentioned how there hasn't been much buzz, how it's been a little quiet surrounding the Eagles. Well, after the 53-man roster is selected on Saturday. I would expect next week, early next week, Monday, Tuesday, the wave of Eagles talk will finally be there. We will embrace the Eagles because it will be game week. There will be discussions to talk about. We will have the Washington Redskins on Sunday. It'll be important. There will be actual football that's meaningful to this city, and that's awesome. It puts a smile on my face because you hear preseason week 1, week 2, you're like, oh, please, come on. Finally, my seasonal depression will end. I am anti-late July and August. I love the fall. Give me football. I can't wait to spend hours on the couch, not moving, fantasy football, putting bets in, everything. I can't wait. Daily fantasy. I'm going to be all over the place. 6 devices going off, making sure I'm bringing in the money. Or losing the money, depending on how that week goes. But I can't wait. Let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, and I will see you next time.